Hi, I'm Roger Sadowsky with Sadowsky Guitars, and I wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to upgrade the electronics on the MetroExpress. Now, the original electronics on the MetroExpress are excellent, and there really is no need to make any changes. This is exactly the same as everything I used in my New York City bases for 20 years. The only change we've made is to put the treble pot on top of the bass pot, and in this location put an old school passive tone control. I call it the V.T.C, which stands for vintage tone control, and it's like the old school tone control where 10 is flat, and as you roll it down the instrument gets warmer and darker sounding. So I just want to show you how easy it is if you want to upgrade to replace the electronics. So this is the Sadowsky Onboard Preamp kit, and inside you'll find your instructions, and you'll find a complete new assembly to replace this, and you'll also find a new circuit board. Okay? I've already removed most of the screws, so you don't have to spend a lot of time watching me. But you always want to have a cup to put all your parts in so you don't lose screws. They fall on the floor easily. So put everything in a cup like this. And I've already removed the pickguard screws. So you want to just gently pull this up like so. Get it above this knob, that's like so, above the pickups. And then just slide it out and move it to the side. And now we'll remove the control plate. So right now it won't come all the way up, it'll come a little bit out. You want to carefully turn it over, and you want to remove the back plate. And now we remove the back plate, and this is what we have inside. So this is the original controls, the battery, and we only have to remove a few wires, okay? So in order to work in here, it's necessary to remove this little clip that's holding the wires together. You want to carefully snip it without cutting any wires. And now you have room to work. So the first thing we need to do is to disconnect the pickup wires. So the pickup wires connect right here to the blend pot. You can see that there's one pickup wire connected to the top here, and there's one connected to the bottom. And we don't have to desolder them. We can just take our wire clipper and clip these wires like so. And then this is the ground wire. So we cut the ground wire. So that's one pickup. And now the second pickup is this white wire, which connects to the bottom of the blend pot. And we'll just cut this one. And then the ground wire from that pickup is this one here. Okay. You can always take a little piece of tape and tape these wires in place here and tape this wire in place here, or you can gently, put a cloth over it like that. Then we have one more ground wire, and this is a wire that connects from the bottom of the bridge to the controls, and this is what's called the ground wire. And so if you touch the bridge and there's any extra noise from lights or whatever, all that noise should go away just from touching the bridge and the string. So I'm going to cut this wire next. Okay, and now we can remove the entire assembly. We should remove the output jack. So I've removed the screws holding the jack cup here, and now I'm going to pull it out. And holding the jack, I will unscrew this to remove it. And we don't need all of these washers. We can take these off. Okay, so we can pull this through now. And then the only other thing we need to do is to actually remove the circuit board, like so. And we can disconnect the battery. And now we can remove the entire original harness, like so. And now we're going to install the new one. And where I would start is to put it in place from the top. Like so. And put one screw back just to hold it in place, because we don't want it to move around and scratch the guitar. So now the controls are master volume, pickup blend. This is now the V.T.C, or the vintage tone control. So again, 10 is flat. This makes the bass darker and warmer sounding. And it is also a push up, push down pot, and pulling it up bypasses the preamp, so you're totally passive. And then this is the preamp, treble on top and bass on the bottom. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get the new output jack properly installed. So we're going to take it and feed it through the jack hole like so. We put on a piece of insulation like so, and that's just to protect the contacts from maybe accidentally touching the shielding paint on the instrument. One lock washer, and then we rescrew the cup. And you want to turn it as tight as you can so it doesn't come loose while you're playing. Okay, and then we can put this back in. The holes go this way for the screws, so line it up and get one screw in. And that's all we have to do right now. The next step is to install the new circuit board. It has double stick tape. And it has letters here to show you what color the wires are on the connectors. And so you can see here there's a Y. That stands for yellow. So just find the connector with the yellow wire and match it up to that terminal. And put it on like so. And then we have the second one. And this one is red, green, blue, and black. So the easiest way is to find the R for the red, and that's the one in the middle, and install that one like so. So all those are installed, and then remove the double stick tape and place it back in the position here. And press it down firmly with your fingers, like so. Okay. So we don't have too many connections left. We can put the battery clip to the side. So now our next step is to reconnect the pickup wires and the ground wire. And this is the only part of the installation that requires soldering. So you have to decide if you feel you can do this yourself, if you're a hobbyist and have a soldering iron, or if maybe you need to have this done by a professional guitar tech at your local music store. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is prepare the blend pot for us to attach the hot wires from the pickups. There are two little slits in the board, two slots, here and here. According to our diagram, the inside one is the neck pickup and the outside one is the bridge pickup. There's some little silvery stuff right here on these sides of the slots. So the first thing we want to do is get some solder there, so we have something to connect to the wires. So we just gently get a ball of solder going on that one, And you see now how I have a nice little ball of solder there? And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And I have a nice little ball of solder there. So we have to take our wires, and we have to now, we have to strip the insulation off the wire so we can expose the bare wire. This is a large wire stripper. There are smaller ones you can get at a hardware store. So we're going to feed this in in the smallest location and then squeeze it like that. And you can see how it exposed some bare wire. I actually want a little bit more length, so I'm going to do this again. And so I have this. And the first thing you want to do is take these little strands of wire and twist them together, like so. This wire is bare, you don't have to do anything. So this is the neck pickup. Bridge pickup, we have these two wires. And again, we use the wire stripper. Like so. Sometimes wires will have a cloth on the outside, and sometimes it has plastic on the outside. If it has the cloth, just trim these little cloth threads away so they don't get in the way when you're soldering. And again, twist the wires together. We have to strip this one. We should get them all ready in advance. Okay. Another thing I recommend when you're soldering is to do a process called pre-tinning. And this is to get some solder on the wire first so that when you go to connect it at various locations, the solder melts and connects so much better. So I'm going to take the hot wire from the neck pickup, which is this white one here, and I'm going to pre-tin it like we were talking about. And it's just a matter of holding the solder tip under the wire, getting a little solder, and let it flow out just like so. Now we can do this. Now you always want to have a cloth here to protect the base from any solder maybe splashing onto the finish. We have this wire to do, and we have this ground wire to do. So again, move the cloth over like so. And that's called pre-tinning. So now we're ready to do our soldering. You want to look at the manual here, and it shows you this is the neck pickup and this is the hot output, and it's going to this lug in the middle of the blend pot, which here is this spot right here. And if you were to reverse it, it would change the direction of the blend pot. Now there's no right or wrong. I, for 40 years, have always liked clockwise to be the bridge and counterclockwise to be the neck. There are other bases on the market that work the opposite way. Clockwise is the neck and counterclockwise is the bridge. But to keep it the Sadowsky direction, follow this direction, and you'll see that the neck pickup is the inside terminal. And here, if you can take a close-up, here are the two spots to connect the pickups. So this will be the neck, and this will be the bridge. So again, we're going to take our neck pickup, we're going to take our hot wire, we're going to put it right inside this little groove right here. And if it doesn't stay in place, that's where you can use a tweezers or a tool like that to hold it in place. Then you take your soldering iron, hold it in place till the solder melts, and don't move the wire until the solder gets hard. Give it a few seconds, and then you can jiggle it, and you can see that it's a good connection. And now I'm going to take the bridge wire from the bridge pickup, do the same thing, put it in the groove, and you can bend it a little to keep it in place. and then solder this one in place. Now you need to be very careful that the solder does not go so far as to touch another connection on the board, and if it sticks out too far, you just take your wire cutter and you clip it off. The next step is to attach the ground wires. There's one ground wire for each pickup and then the bridge ground wire. The place we want to attach the ground wires is the back of the blend pot. So the first thing we need to do is create a ball of solder on the back of the pot so we can solder the wires to that. So you just heat up the back of the pot with your soldering iron until it gets hot, and you can melt a nice ball of solder like so. So we're going to do another ball of solder. And it's probably easier to take several wires and twist them together. I'm going to do these two wires together first, and we're going to solder it to this terminal here, just like. You want to make sure that solder melts all the way, like so. And then tug your wires, make sure they're tight. This wire here does not have as much insulation covering it, so I want to solder this one short like this so that the bare wire can't touch anything else. So I'm going to put this one here and I'm going to solder it like so. Takes a little more heat to melt the solder that's on the back of the pot. Wait till it cools. So now everything has been reconnected. You can always check to see if you have any wires that are not connected anywhere. Everything is connected. Now we can put the battery back in. Make sure you line up the poles of the battery clip and the battery in the correct spot. Put the battery on, put it in place, tuck your wires neatly back in, and we're done. So now we can put the control plate on. And I recommend at this point, just put one screw back in, because then we want to test the instrument. And this way, if we did make any mistake, we don't have to remove all 6 screws again. So we're all set here, and we're going to, again, put the screws back in. You'll notice some are a little bit smaller. The smaller ones are the screws for the back plate, and the bigger screws are for the control plate and the pickguard. So we can put the bigger screws back here. And this is the right time to plug your bass into an amplifier and check that everything's working right. You check the volume control. Again, the blend pot all the way to the right should be the bridge pickup, and all the way to the left should be the neck pickup. Then this is the vintage tone control. 10 is flat. This gets it warmer and darker. The preamp, 0 is flat, okay? Because there's no cut on my preamp, there's only boost. So this will boost the treble, this will boost the bass. I never recommend you go all the way to 10 on the preamp, it's too much of everything. My favorite area is from just a little bit to maybe 75% up, okay? And then you can put your pickguard back on. Like so. You have to first slip it under the neck pocket, and then you can get it into position. You can put all these screws back on, all these screws back on. I'm going to put one to start. Then we can flip it over again. And now that we've tested the base on an amplifier and we're comfortable everything is okay, then we can put these smaller screws back and put the back plate on. Whenever I'm screwing or unscrewing screws on an instrument, I like to keep my fingers like so that I don't accidentally slip with the screwdriver and maybe scratch my base. So I keep my fingers close like so. And again, you'll go all the way around, put all of these screws back in. You'll go all the way around, put these back in, and then you're ready to go. And you have the all new upgraded electronics with the V.T.C. and enjoy your bass.
Mm-hmm.